What's going on YouTube? It's your main man Boys for Life coming at you with another video. So we're gonna get into this whole thing one more time, but I found some clips from some people who feel the same way I feel, and you're gonna be surprised. But first, I'm gonna show you what I just got in the mail. She ordered me a flag, a new one. I love my state of Texas. All right, guys, let's get into this. So I know yesterday I said it was gonna be my last time speaking on this, but there's some guys that I listen to, and I'm gonna just show clips of one dude who makes my point. He makes my point when I'm speaking this type of stuff to certain people, and they just don't want to listen. So we're going to see if they listen to someone like themselves. And after this is really going to be the last time I talk about it. It's funny, I've been losing subscribers, which is fine. They don't want to follow me because of my political views. That's fine. But remember, you also have to follow me because of the love of my team, the love of our team, if you're a Cowboy fan, and the shit talking I do to other fan bases. So yesterday I made a video about David Dorn and what happened, and I thought he was a retired cop, but he wasn't. I don't think he was. He's on the force. He was responding to a call from to a pawn shop and shot dead, and it was done on Facebook Live. Done on Facebook Live by black people. And no, I'm not being racist. I'm not. That's what they were. If it was a Mexican, I'd say it would be a Mexican. I'm just calling out what like I see it, you know. And what I've been saying this whole time is I don't understand how people can scream racism just because it's a white man and a black dude, or a white man and a Mexican. I've never experienced racism in my life. I get it. Some of the older guys that are on YouTube have. I get it. Some of the black guys that are on here have. I understand y'all have, and I know y'all got a viewpoint. But I'm speaking from my experiences and the way I grew up. Here, San Antonio, you know, I have never experienced it. Yes, I've had run-ins with the law, with cops once or twice, parties here and there, stopped, been in handcuffs, like I said. You know, I've done my shit. But never once did I lay blame on a cop because I was Mexican. No, I was just like, how the fuck did he know that I had been drinking? But again, I was the one that, sorry for that interruption, but what was I saying? Oh, but I've never laid blame on a police officer for doing their job and whatnot. Again, I'm gonna say again, like I've said many times, what happened to George Floyd was horrible. A guy who couldn't breathe, begging for his life. I get it. Get off of him. He shouldn't never been like that for that long. Once he was handcuffed, he should have been let up, because at that point he's not a threat, and I don't understand. And I get it on police brutality. If that's what we want to scream and yell and protest for, I'm all for it. I'm down with it. I'm down, because I have seen it. I've seen it where it's like, why the fuck do you keep going? I've seen videos where a cop who's just coming into the situation, he's the last guy in, comes running in from out of nowhere and just kicks a dude or lays a punch into a dude that's being beaten up by like 4 or 5 other cops. It's like, why are you like doing this? Like, I don't understand. So I'm with you on that. But what I'm not with is the screaming and the yelling and the rioting and the looting in the name of Black Lives Matter, in the name of George Floyd, because that's not the case. All these people want to do is riot and loot and steal because they want a free TV, or they're killing black people. These black people are killing black people, and people are just okay with it. Now, I'm not saying anybody here on YouTube is saying they're okay with it. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm saying in the majority, in the grand scheme of things, when you look at the rioting and looting going on and the killings, no one's saying anything. Nothing. And I'm not the only one. But anyway, we're going to get into this first clip that's just proving what I'm saying. And like I said, you're going to be looking at it, you're going to be hearing it from a guy that is like some of the people out here that I've been going against. But here, let's get into this.
First things first, I have zero empathy for any looters, anybody that's engaging in violence, none of that. Like, I didn't have any from the beginning. I did not have any before this thing happened, while it's happening, or right now. Zero. If you're a looter, shooter, or whatnot, you should consider Gitmo on the first class ticket making big rocks into little rocks. That's number one. But number two, there was a little bit of empathy there for peaceful protesters. And when I say little bit, I do mean little bit. I'm talking about out of 100%, maybe 2%. There was a 2% opening in my closed, cold heart for these peaceful people. Okay. But now, after what I've seen over the past few days, that 2% is gone. I've welded that door shut. I've taken it out of my heart and thrown it away. You're not gonna find it anymore, okay? I have no empathy for the looters or the so-called peaceful protesters. I see them as the same people, and I'll explain that in a minute. The reason why I'm saying this right now is because, like I said, I've seen a few things over the past few days that have really sickened me. You have more black people that have been shot, killed during these so-called protests than were actually killed in the incident we're talking about, which is George Floyd. That was the original purpose, right? Because everybody's protesting and carrying on because of the death of George Floyd. They said, oh, well, the officers, they didn't get arrested. They were doing too much. Okay, that was the original purpose because of one person that died, who, by the way, was not a model citizen at all. You're talking about a dope fiend, a guy that was on fentanyl, meth, a guy that robbed a pregnant lady, gunpoint, okay? You ain't talking about an honorable guy. Let's just have that be clear.
So like I said in my last video, George Floyd, and like I said in all my videos, didn't deserve what he got. No, not in the slightest, not in the very least. But still, people are taking to the streets protesting because imagine if it was a black cop killing a black man. Would we hear about it? No, we wouldn't. We wouldn't hear anything about it. And that's the crazy part. And that's what I'm trying to push into people's heads, is that we got to get away from this racism shit. Because if you keep claiming racism is always going to be there, no matter what. If you keep saying, oh, he got me because I'm the color of my skin, and you're projecting that racism, even though it had nothing to do with what had actually happened, then of course racism is always going to be there. And that's what I'm pushing into people, trying to push into people's minds. If you eliminate the fact of race and you just say, oh, it's a shitty cop doing a shitty thing, who, mind you, yes, did have a rap sheet of doing this many times, multiple times, and I've expressed that. If he had been off the force the first 17 times it happened, then none of this would have ever have happened. Nothing. So let me ask you this. If this had never taken place, would have we been up in arms for the 89 people that died in Chicago Memorial Day weekend? The 89 people that got shot, I'm sorry. The 19 people that died, the 5-year-old little girl that passed away because she got shot. Would we be up in arms and taken to the streets because of this? Of course not. But we're going to keep watching.
The main thing that set me off and really affected me personally was the death of 77-year-old David Dorn. He was a retired police captain out there in St. Louis who responded to a burglary call at a pawn shop. So he's out there trying to protect the community, trying to protect businesses. And what happens? Not only does he get shot and killed right outside the pawn shop, it also is streamed on Facebook Live. Is anybody there rendering him aid? Is anybody there trying to help this man as he loses his life right there on the sidewalk? 77 years old.
And that's the thing I'm getting at. This man was shot dead because he was protecting a business. And he was retired. I stood corrected in my first video about him. He was retired. But he was responding to a call. Looters came and shot him cold blood. And live streamed it. And we're defending looters. We're not defending looters, not anybody on YouTube, but we're defending these protesters because let's face it, 98% of these people aren't peacefully protesting. Everywhere you look, there's riots and shit going on. It is what it is. Just call it what it is.
If that is how you express that Black Lives Matter, I don't understand how that makes any sense. Okay. It was not just Mr. David Dorn who passed away. And by the way, if you want to donate to his family, there's a link for that in the box. It wasn't just him. It was also a man in Oakland, Patrick Underhill, 53 years old. He was a protective services officer for the federal government. He was shot, killed out there in Oakland, trying to keep the peace, trying to make sure everybody was good and safe, just doing his job. Okay, where's the Black Lives Matter protest for Patrick Underhill, David Dorn, or anybody else? There was a young lady in Davenport, Iowa. I forget her name, but I'll put that in the box also on the stream. She was shot and killed just by being in her car close to where the so-called protests were happening. Okay, so I don't understand how Black Lives Matter. I can't really tell. You killing old men for flat screen TVs. And you know what? This is why I say that black on black crime is really important. What you're seeing right now on a national stage, the 77-year-old man that got shot, killed, the young girl that got shot, killed, people that are getting beat up, assaulted, people that are getting guns pulled on them, black folks getting guns pulled on them, black folks getting their businesses robbed and looted and burned and everything else. You see that on a consistent basis in the black so-called community, which ain't no black community anyway. It's black neighborhoods. You see that all the time in black neighborhoods consistently. Okay, so when I talk about black on black violence, I'm talking about that. I'm talking about the everyday chaos, pandemonium, and destruction that we do to each other in our own communities. That's what I'm talking about. That's why it matters. So when anybody wanted to call me a coon or Uncle Tom or a sellout or a Sambo or something like that, what are you even thinking about? You're the coon. You're retarded for not wanting to talk about the most important and pressing thing. You'll talk about some of these criminals that get murdered in the street, and sometimes rightfully so, by the police as some kind of injustice. But then when your granddaddy get killed, when your grandmama get killed, when your girlfriend, your wife, your sister, your mother, your brother, when they get killed in your own community, oh, it ain't no real big deal, right? Ain't no real big deal. It's ridiculous. And to anybody that's out there so-called peacefully protesting, you're part of the problem. I blame you too.
Now, if you want to peacefully protest, then go for it. But blocking streets and when a person drives in the middle of these streets and they get attacked, that person has every right to just fucking run. Just go. Every right. This is what I've been saying. This is what I have been saying about this. Basically, he's saying that people are part of the problem because you're aiding what's going on. Strength in numbers. I cut that part out because we don't need to hear it. He's just talking about his explanation of why people are part of the problem is because you're aiding these people. You're helping them, giving them strength in numbers. You know, you're being an enabler, basically. But we're gonna look at one more, little clip, and then we're gonna end this.
There was a story in Richmond, Virginia, where a fire truck or ambulance or both was trying to get to a burning house with a baby inside. So luckily they were able to get there in time despite all the traffic blockage. But what if they were not able to get there and the baby dies in the fire? Do you care about that? Are you thinking about that when you're out there so-called protesting? And what are you even protesting at this particular point? What is the end game here? That's what I want to know. What's the end game for you guys that are out there so-called protesting? It's been days. Like you could say that it's about recognition and trying to spread a message and trying to be vocal, trying to, get some attention to the cause, trying to, okay, everybody knows what the cause is. Like, it ain't nothing new. police brutality, white man bad, orange man bad. Okay, we get it. And so what? Do you need to take days to do this, to get that across? How many more black people, white people, Asian and everybody else have got to die, have got to get seriously injured, have got to have their lives and their businesses ruined before we say enough is enough and it's over with?
So after watching this man speak, hopefully you can see where I'm coming from and how I view things and why, to me, this is just all crazy. And seriously, what are you trying to get at? Because now we're getting police reform, or so it seems. Now Minneapolis is going to tear down their police department, and I wonder how they're going to build it back up. I wonder if they're going to give the power to the people and let them police each other, because we know what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen. We know that either one or two things are going to happen. If that happens, we're going to see an increase of crime because, oh, you're my friend, let me slide. Or if we actually start holding people accountable, then it's going to be even worse. That's just my feel. But that's what I need y'all to take away from this whole video, is that if this shit really mattered, if it was really like my life is valuable just as much as the white person's life, why are we taking our own lives? Huh? Again, when I say we, I just mean like as the minority, even though down here in Texas we're the majority. I'm Hispanic, we're not. But why do Mexicans take Mexican lives, and why do blacks take black lives? Like, if it's really our lives are really that valuable, why do we do that? That's something I've never understood. But I'm gonna leave you with that, and I'm out. Peace.